Lithium. What is a funny intro for Lithium? Well, I don't know. Hello and welcome back to another ranked review. Today we are looking at Lithium's Ceramic Slam and seeing if this is a different type of spray sealant. Based on the instructions, it sounds like it is. It sounds like it's closer to a higher solids coating. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to run it through the same gamut of testing as we do everything else. Build hammer autofoam, gloss fill panel, and of course the application in real world, which has so far, and I know all the results because I'm filming this, but there's two major weaknesses this thing has, but some interesting strengths as well. So let's get into that, and then we'll see you back here for the ranking and the scoring. All right, first up, Lithium Ceramic Slam. This is a high solids sew and such type product, but it also has to cure on the panel for 5 minutes before you wipe. Some people complain about streaking, but you gotta leave it on there for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna use an applicator, and this is a suede type coating one, to apply it. Just because of that reason, I want to get proper coverage. And I've got a second phone to run a timer, which I should probably set up right now. So I will cut the waiting part, but that's how we're gonna do it. So let's go through the spreading and application. I've done one hit. Let's see how that goes. This is a big section, so it might need a second hit. But I've done some playing around with this on a couple, yeah, you need a second hit at least. A couple panels. And I got some initial feedback about streaking, but on the test panels I've done so far by doing it this way, I haven't had any issues. At least nothing that I would genuinely start to highlight as a complaint. And it's about just under 20 degrees Celsius. I have the heater running. I'm drying some floor mats I washed today. But yeah, this is slickening up under the applicator nicely. So if you're using this with just a cloth, I would use an applicator because this is going great. And I can see it like on there. Work it in. And we'll start our 5-minute timer. And I'm gonna cut this because 5 minutes is 5 minutes. And the timer is going off. Get rid of that. Noticing very little in the way of streaking. A lot of the hazing that I was seeing when I first put it on has already gone away. There's a little bit of streaking following me around, but I haven't flipped yet. And I'm working on a pretty big section. They do say 2 feet by 2 feet, so you know, your mileage may vary. But we'll see after I flip. I'm gonna buff this in a bit. It is slick under the cloth, though. Holy moly, it's slick. Trying to see here. It's thinning out already, so I'll try to flip. And it's gone. It's definitely a little more streakiness, especially if you get working in a big area, you put it on a bit thick. I could have put it on a little bit thick just because the applicator can do that. But yeah, a little bit of streaking, but we're talking like super minor. It's very faint. I would just let it sit. It doesn't want to get wet for 24 hours. That's another drawback to its application. So, you know, consider that when you're using it. You know, the streaking's like gone now. Oh, there's back bit. Very faint though, like very faint. But there is some streaking left over, so it does need a good work in. So maybe work in smaller sections, work sparingly. But yeah, like I'm not having any issues with this right now, so it's gone. But yeah, they're gone now. So yeah, it's not the application's not the greatest, but you know, this all screams to me like loaded formula. Like this thing's jacked. So we'll see how it does in the other testing. We have the other panel to apply to. This is just for application, but yeah, it's an interesting product for sure. It seems like they got as close as they could to a full-on while still spraying. But yeah, all right, moving on. Okay, up first is Lithium Ceramic Slam, which is right here. It's been applied to this square, untreated and fully polished. So that's our reference point. Pull the teep. And ooh, that looks pretty good. Wow, that looks really good. It is much darker and it is much less swirly. There's a lot of filling going in, which is curious because the adage that we've been going off of is the easier they are to apply, the worse they clean up the paint. And this one was not exactly easy to remove, and it's done a great job filling things in, which means it's left a lot more material behind overall. It's filled in, right? It has to have more behind if it's gonna fill more. So yeah, that looks really good. I like that a lot. Application, yeah, it's not super easy. I found it easier, we'll talk about this later, but I found it easier in the smaller sections than I worked on the full-size door. So clearly this product needs to be applied in smaller sections, but it's still not nearly as easy as pretty much everything else we've tried, barring Infinity. So yeah, good stuff on the gloss and fill. Moving on. Okay, it's time to go through the scores. Allow me to flip. So here, now, for me in Canada, pricing is not a strong spot for this. These 16-ounce bottle, which comes with this trigger. Now, I don't know if it comes with a trigger. This trigger came with another product I ordered when I ordered at the same time. They both came with the same trigger. I'm not sure if this is the trigger it came with. So if it's not, then the bottle score might change. But this is what I got with it. So if it doesn't ship with one, then it deserves the score it got, if anything less. But starting with pricing, it is $56.95 for 16 ounces. So this is not a affordable product. And as you saw in the application, the way you apply this makes it seem like it's much more than a just regular old spray. It seems like it's far higher solids content than a regular one based on its application. But that in 500 mils for dollars, for me, it would be $60.20. So price is a 1. I'm sorry, but 16 ounces for nearly $60 is a 1. Now, if every single thing else on the score was perfect, that would still be a great product, but it does have some weaknesses. Slickness is a 9 out of 10. It is extremely slick to buff, but as you saw, you're going to be buffing it. When I did the test sections, it wasn't as bad. I feel like I had a lot more cloth to product ratio and I could get it off. But trying to do the door in one go was too much. So in fairness to them, they do say to work in a 2 square foot section, which is why I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. I did go a little overboard and it was better on the smaller sections. So yeah, it's unfortunate because everything else about the application, the scent, the slickness is nice, but you will have to sit there for a bit and work it. I think the higher the temperatures, maybe the faster it'll come off. And yeah, just use sparingly and work in smaller areas. If you have to section up a door, then it may be worth the effort. But unfortunate because it is very slick, but the application is not nearly as straightforward as a spray product suggests. And I would apply it with a microfiber pad or an applicator just to get a thinner amount. So that's that. Hydrophobics is an 8 out of 10. The hydrophobics are pretty good on this. They're not like super peak level, but they're definitely above the average we've been seeing so far. And I was pretty happy with that. Chemical testings is 7 out of 10. It was definitely still there at the end, but it got really blotchy. But it did better than a few of the other ones we had seen, but not the top marks that we've seen on some of them and possibly one coming up. But yeah. Filling, however, is an 8 out of 10. Did a lot of filling. Looked quite good. So, hard to use product, fills better. So far, it's correlating. I'm not saying it's a rule. I'm just saying so far there's a correlation between ease of use and lack of fill. The easier it is to use, the less filling it does. And this did a good job filling, which you saw. Bottle and trigger. Bottle's good, label's good. Label's a 2 out of 2. Bottle, I'm giving it a 1 out of 2 because I don't think it comes with a trigger, which sucks because it's almost $60. And the trigger supplied is just an on-off guy. It doesn't have any variability, but otherwise it worked fine. The spray pattern it was acceptable. I didn't mind the spray pattern, but it was less adjustable. And yeah, it seems like it might not come with a trigger or something like that, but yeah. So total score for Ceramic Slam is 40 out of 64. This is absolutely going into the next real world test because this thing has an interesting characteristic to it that I think it'll be a surpriser for the actual long-term results. But price and application really hurt it. But it did quite well in a lot of other areas. So that's unfortunate, but I don't think it's a terrible product, but definitely is more of a workout than compared to most of the products we've seen so far. So, yep, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.